I saw it in round robin. So, I think your written material was really good, but I think your timing on some jokes is off a bit, especially as Josephine said. It's like, and so why did the chicken cross the road? I mean, I think that doing this often messed up your timing. Because I think that, especially self-deprecating humor is really good, and you had lots of that in your speech. Especially, the speech was funny when I wrote it this morning, and it was a very good written humor speech. I just think in your timing and your presentation, especially in voice, you could have done voices for the different characters too. A lot of strength of humor comes from the strength of the characters in the story, not necessarily throwing jokes out. So that's my Jennifer.
I probably wasn't paying full attention because I was still in recovery from, oh my god, all the things I did wrong in my speech. But I felt like this Toastmasters part of it was a little disconnected from the other two. And I don't know if it was more ad-libbed. You seem to be going back to the notes less, so maybe you're more comfortable with it, or maybe it was you didn't see the green yet, so you expanded on it, I don't know. But it seemed a bit less tied in with the theme of the A's and what you were trying to do as you grew up. So I think Josephine kind of mentioned you tying it back to the A's, but that would have helped me in terms of the sort of sections of the speech, how this new thing you're doing with Toastmasters relates back. And your mom would be proud of you if she knew what it meant, or even though you're not getting paid, you're going to get an A from your district governor. I don't know. Something like that to maybe tie that in with the other parts would have helped the continuity.
Very good.
I know I had my hands raised, but I was going to say the same thing. So I felt like we jumped from you as a student to now you're an area governor. And maybe as a transitional point, I mean, I have no idea what you do now. I loved some of your one-liners like, well, I just went to the second best public school. Pause after that, but I feel like we went straight from you graduating school to you being an area governor. Okay. And maybe even having a story in between, kind of like here's the student part, here's the work part, and oh, by the way, now Toastmasters. And that might be a way to more smoothly get into it. So I pretty much had the same thing to say.
Yeah.
Couple, I really loved how you ended your speech, or towards the end rather, when you said it was funny in the morning. I know that's something that Rody Wade and when he was here earlier last year talked about, which is, it's okay if your jokes fall flat, but how do you recover from it? And I think you did an excellent job there, so kudos on that. In terms of the overall message, I was a little confused because it took you a while to start saying Indian parents, because I wasn't sure if it's your personal story or you're trying to generalize, or you. Because in the first person that came to my mind, at least, when you, in the middle of your speech, was Russell Peters. I don't know how many of you have heard about Russell Peters. Okay, no, so maybe then this, otherwise it's a go that well. But he's this famous comedian who makes a lot of jokes about Indian people. Yeah, he's an Indian origin as well. But his dad and parents used to be really strict. And so I was like, you could have used that reference saying, if you thought Russell Peters' experience was bad, imagine my mom, even Russell Peters would be scared of, something like that. And to kind of get the audience involved into what you're talking about and catch up with you quickly and then go on more. But other than that, I thought it was a good, definitely a good attempt. How about the notes? See if you can keep them on your hand or at the front, so you don't have to go back. But you already know that. Carlos.
Echoing what some other people said, but just from my own perspective, as I got into the speech, I noticed that I was getting distracted. The head part of me was saying, where is this going? How is it related? What's the plan? I wanted to put some structure into it. And at some point I said, Carlos, just relax, go with the flow, listen to the jokes and have a nice time. Depending on your intention, one or the other may be appropriate, but it seemed that it was a mixture. If the idea was just to get me to relax and have a good time, that would have been appropriate. Some hinting at that would have been good at the beginning to just release me from my compulsion to put structure in it. If you wanted to put structure, then perhaps bringing, sort of foreshadowing your ending point in the opening, would have been helpful to say, okay, this is where we're headed, I'll stay with him, see where we're going, and finish. So it's similar to what other people are saying, but just the way that I experienced it. A bit of a distraction by trying to put structure into things that are to be listened to.
Okay. Hi.
That was a great speech. It was great to have Parthiv in my home club, that is Toast Twisters in Cisco. Great to see you again today. I thought you had some really good laughs, some very good, well-timed jokes, I would say. But that might be a little bit because of the reason that people in the audience tend to listen to people who wear suits more than people who do not wear suits. I mentioned this in
We're listening to you quite
yeah,
a bit.
exactly. You might be even very few who wear a tie, but that works. I remember one thing that I wanted to tell you was when the evaluation was done for your speech, I tried to recollect what you spoke about, and I recollected a lot of fine jokes, but I could not recollect what your takeaway point was. I tried to read the title of your speech, it was not there, so it was really a mystery. So I think you should have a stronger takeaway point, and that might help us a lot more. Thank you.
I felt your voice was definitely more confident than during the officer's installation. Your content was great too. It's hard. I think it's harder to make a smaller audience laugh. So I felt you had pretty good things going on. I agree with most of what everyone else was saying, especially about the voices. If you truly feared your mother, you should make a very scary voice about that too. And I want to add that to, you really got to stick the landing, I mean the ending, to not have it end in back to you, Mr. Toastmaster, or thank you, or everyone. Try to find a good content for the ending to really make sure it's obvious it's the ending. And as a Berkeley grad, I doubt UCLA is that high.
Parthiv, you had 1 and 3 repeat words. Pretty clean otherwise.